So in this video I'm going to show you how to create a really simple game called Poke the Pig. You could make this game really about anything you want. I'm just going to make it with a pig. So when you go into App Lab, remember create new. I'm going to give it a name. Okay, make sure you're signed in as well. You can see my name up there so I know it's going to be saved. So always check that before you do anything. I'm just going to call this Poke the Pig. Alright. Now this game's really simple. It only has 2 pages or 2 screens. So what we're going to do is go into design first and new screen. I'm going to have 2. It always starts with the screen 1 anyway. So I'm going to call screen 1 my game screen because this is where I'm going to play the game. And I'm going to call screen 2. Remember in the ID, this is where you create an identification for the page. So for the first page, I've just called it game screen. You could change the background too. I'm going to have it white. And then for screen 2, I'm going to call this game over. And I might actually make the background of this maybe like a pink sort of colour. Okay, so I've got 2 screens, the game screen and the game over screen. Now on the game screen, I want really 2 things, instructions and a pig. Okay, so the instructions, I'm going to just type them. So I'm going to select label, which is going to be text, drag it over, and that drags over text. I'm going to say the name of the game, which is Poke the Pig. And again, just like with the other lesson that we looked at, you can make this bigger or smaller. Just move it around. Poke the Pig. And you can change the background color, you can change the text color. Because it's a pig, I want this to be pink. Okay. And you can also change the alignment, like center or whatever you want, but I just drag it. The other thing I'm going to do is put some instructions. So I'm going to say here, you have, oops, I've tried typing in here, right, it doesn't work. So you have to click on the text and then go over here into text and say you have 10 seconds. So this is how long you're going to have in this game to poke the pig. I actually might make it 5 seconds just so it's a bit quicker so you can see. You can make it as much as you want, making it 5 seconds. I'm just going to drag that there. So that's the instructions. Now, I'm not going to do anything with these labels here, so I'm not going to give them a special name, okay? But I am going to do something with the image I'm going to put here. I'm going to put an image, which is going to be the pig. So I've just Googled for cartoon pig, and I found this one. It's very cute. So when I Google that, I just open up the pig. I'm going to right-click on that pig, and then there we go, and then save image as, or I'm just going to do that, and put it on my desktop. So I've already got it there. So I've saved the image. So now I'm going to go into, click on that image there. Remember that I'm in design mode at the moment, not in code, I'm in design mode. Click on the image, go down to choose, and I'm going to choose that pig that I just got. So it's on my desktop, it's that pig. And that's going to upload as an asset. I'm going to choose that pig and drag it. You can resize it. He's very cute. Okay, so that's the game screen. That's actually done. The next thing I'm going to do is go to the game over screen. Now here is where I'm going to tell people how many times they poke the pig and also if they want to try again. So I'm going to do a text area because it's quite big, drag it over. In the text area I'm going to say you have poked the pig, and it's going to be like some amount of times. Right, so I'm going to leave a gap because I'm going to have the amount of times showing with a different label. Now you can see it's got a background, it looks really ugly to me, so I'm going to scroll down to background over here. Remember that you have to be clicked on the thing you want to alter. So if I click on the background, that's the background, so I'm clicking on the text. Scroll down, I don't want a background, but I do want the words to be a bit bigger. And I'm going to make it be in the center. And because it's gone off the page there, just going to move that. Okay, I want that. I also want a button down the bottom. Now the button is going to say try again. And because I've pink themed this, I'm going to pink that button as well. And I might make it a bit bigger. So my text is big, but it's bigger than the button. So just click on the button and you can resize it. Okay, now the only other thing we need is the score. Now to do that, I'm going to use a label. I'm going to select it and drag it to here. I'm not going to type a score in, okay, because we're actually going to get the game to keep track of it. I am going to change what it looks like though. So this is going to be bright pink. It's going to be massive. Ooh, it's huge. It's going to go there. Okay, so I haven't put any text in, but I need to give this an identification because it actually needs to be called something so that we can use it in our code. So I'm going to call this score underscore text, like that, score text. So I know it for the code. This button as well really needs to be called something. It's called button 1 at the moment, but I'm going to call it try button. I like using underscores because it's like a space, but if you don't want to put an underscore, you could just type it like that. I just like it. Okay, so we've actually set the game up now. All we have to do is the code. So we have the game screen, it's got a title, it's got instructions, it's got a pig. And the game over has you've poked the pig so many times, it's got a try again button, and it's got the text that's going to hold the score. So now we are going to do the coding. So click onto code. Now, what we want to do is we first of all want to set up the game. Okay, and the way we're going to do that is we're going to create the game as a function, which is going to be using the green over here. So we're going to call this a game. We'll just call it pig game. So I'm going to click on functions, click on function. Okay, and I'm going to call this function something. I'm going to call it pig game. So that way, whenever I want to actually play the game, I just use this function. Now you can see it doesn't like it because it doesn't like spaces. So I've just called it pig game. Now what we want to do, first of all, let's think about what we need. We need it to only run for 5 seconds. Okay, so that's a control thing. Okay, so what we need to do is do something called set timeout, because a timeout is where you're going to have something happen and then it's going to stop. Okay, so when you set timeout, you see there's a number here, it says 1,000. Now this app uses what are called milliseconds, okay, and a millisecond is where 1,000 milliseconds is 1 second. So this 1,000 actually means 1 second. So at the moment it's going to time out after 1 second. Now I want 5 seconds, so that's 5,000 milliseconds. Okay, 1,000 is 1 second, 5,000 is 5 seconds, 10,000 is 10 seconds, and so on. So we want to time out, and basically what we want to do is when this thing times out, you want to go to the game over screen. Okay, so set timeout, I'm going to go to controls, and I want to set the screen to the game over screen. So that's going to happen. Okay, so that's the timeout part done. The next thing that we want to do is we want to actually play the game. So I'm going to put the set screen. We want to be on the game screen. Now we need a couple of things to happen. I'll put this actually up here. We want to have a variable for score. Now remember that a variable is something, and you can actually, see here, it's going to keep track of something that happens that the user does. So the user is going to click on the pig, and we want to keep track of that. So we're going to call that variable score. Okay, so var means variable. I've clicked on variables. I'm going to drag this to the top. Now when the user starts this game, you want it to start at 0. Okay, give the variable a name. I'm just going to call it score because that's easy. And it's always going to start at 0. So let's look at what the code's doing so far. This is the game. The function is the game we're creating. At the start of the game, the score will be 0. We start at the game screen and we have a timeout so that we'll end. Okay, so at the moment, if we run this code, it's just going to go for 5 seconds and then it's going to time out. So that's all that happens, like nothing very interesting happens. So once we've done that, we've got this code so far, the next thing we need to do is actually have stuff happen. Okay, so we're going to have something happen when the user clicks on the pig. So what we're going to do is go to UI controls, user interface controls, go to on event. It doesn't really matter if you put it above or below. We'll just put it below, on event. And this is going to be, if you click on the pig, something's going to happen. So if I go to the pig, now I didn't name this pig, by the way. So if I go to design, click on the pig, it's just called image 1. I'm going to call it pig. So now it makes more sense. So go into my code. On event, if I find the pig and I click on the pig, something's going to happen. Well, I want the score to change. Okay, so what I want to do, go into variables, because this is to do with your score. Your score is going to change by how much? Well, it's going to be whatever it was plus 1. Okay, so if your score is 0, you click on the pig, your new score is 1. If your score was 2 and you click on the pig, your new score is 3. So the score that you're going to have is the score that you had before plus 1. Like that. So the score, the new score is the old score plus 1. Okay, so now every time you click on the pig, the score is going to go up by 1. Now you might also like for there to be a sound if you click on the pig. So you can add sounds in this app if you have MP3s. So what I've done is I've just searched in Google. I searched for, I can show you, pig sound MP3. I just clicked on the first one that came up, was this site, and I'm going to use this sound here. It's like this ree sound, which is annoying. So I'm going to download it as an MP3. Now it'll ask me what to do with it. I'm just going to save it. Just take note of what it's called so you can find it. So I've saved that. Let me go back to my pig project, press save just to make sure it's saved. So now what I'm going to do is have this sound. So when I click on the pig, the score goes up and we're going to have a sound happen. So this is in UI controls. There is something called sound. Where are you? Play sound. So I'm going to click, move that in, and you can choose the sound. Now if you want to upload, just click upload, and I know that it's called Ree because I looked at it. So I'm going to use that sound. It uploads and then choose that. So now what's going to happen, there's other little conditions you can have. I just click on that arrow to make it go away. So it's just, alright, so now if we wanted to try out what we've done so far, what we can do is we can actually get it to play the game. So to do that, what we need to do is actually call this function. It's called calling a function. It means you actually want to do what's in here. So go into functions, and it says call a function, calls a function. It talks about parameters. Yeah, we're not doing anything with parameters, so you don't need to worry. But we need to put the name of the function. So now what's happening in our code is we created this function, which is the game, and this part here is telling you to play the game. Alright, so I'm just going to go to text mode, and I'm just going to put a comment in here. So this is actually play the game. This part here, remember a comment is 2 slashes in the front, so this is to create the game. Now you don't need these comments, okay, this is just so that you can see what's going on. And go back to blocks, it's just good practice. If you're wanting to get into coding, it's a good idea just so you can keep track of your code. So now if I press run, we'll actually be running the game. And so every time I click on that pig, whoo, he makes a noise. Now you can see here that it didn't say what my score is because that's how I haven't told the code to do that yet. So I'm going to do that as my last thing here. So we need to, just going to move this block down. Okay, so we've got the variable, it starts at 0, we have the game screen. When we click the pig, the score goes up by 1 and it makes the sound, the pig sound. And then we have this timeout block. I just moved it down here so it's sort of in order. Now the other thing we want to do is we want to, on the game over screen, have this text, the pink text, show you the score, right? So at the moment I called that pink text score text. So I'm going to go back to code. So let's have a look. This is actually going to be in variables. Actually not variables, UI controls. So this is something called set text. Okay, so what we're going to do in UI controls is set text. And what we want to do is we want to set the text for the score text to be equal to the actual score. So remember we called the variable score, we actually called it score. So we are typing the word score in there. So what's going to happen now is the text that we had will now show the score. All right. The other thing you might like to have happen is for when the person clicks try again to try the game again. So I'm just going to go back to text here. I'm going to add another comment. Try again. Okay, so if you want to have that happen, remember that clicking on a button is going to be a UI control. It's an on event, so it's clicking. Go to click. I called that button the try button. When you click the try button, what do you want to happen? You want to play the game again. So that's actually just grabbing functions, grabbing the function, and what's my function called? I called it pig game. So whenever you have this little block that says pig game, that's actually just saying, okay, run this thing that's in green, run this whole thing, that's the game. It has the score of 0, makes it go on the first page. You click the pig, the score goes up. It only goes for 5 seconds, and then you go the game over and it shows you the score. So it'll initially play the game, and then if you click try again, it'll try again. Alright, so we're going to press run, we're going to try it out. This is running, so I'm going to click the pig heaps of times. Woo. So I poked the pig 15 times. If I want to try again, I'll push try again, and it'll start it again. Now I'm just going to do it like twice, so we'll make sure that our score works. It shouldn't be 15. Yep, totally works. So you can keep doing that as many times as you want, over and over. In another video, we'll show you how to keep track of those scores, so you can create like a table of high scores. But for now, that's really all you need to know for putting together a simple game like that. If you want to, remember that you can always change things, you can move things around. You might like that to be maybe over a little bit. And you don't have to make it about a pig. So you could make this about anything you want, any sounds. You could put, music, change the backgrounds. It's very much up to you what you do, but this is just how you've created a simple game called Poke the Pig. Oh, and remember too that if you wanted to share this game, all you need to do is just make sure that you've signed in and that you've actually saved it and given it a name. And then all you have to do is go up to share, and you can share it by Facebook or Twitter. Remember, this is for if you have a US phone, which you don't have. So you can do that, and then you can play this game on your phone or on anyone's phone, which is really awesome. All right, have fun.